What is going on, guys? It is a fine, super fine day here in Southwest PA, and today we're going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. I've been very excited to make this video. I hope it turns out well, because it is such an important video to watch. Not mine, but how to ride a motorcycle, because I have a feeling that a lot of people think, not you, but a lot of people might say, oh, you can't really learn how to ride a bike by watching YouTube. And I don't think that's true at all, because this is such a new experience for a lot of people, and when you kind of watch and you kind of know what to expect, rather, it'll make the learning of the bike a lot more fun. Like when you take your MSF course or all that, it'll just make it a lot more fun. Now, I am going to be riding a Ninja 650. This is not a video on how to ride a Ninja 650. This is just how to ride a motorcycle in general, because it's all going to be about the same basic idea, right? So, I guess, if, when this, sorry, let's get started. So, I think one of the first things that I kind of want to say is you kind of get it out of your head about worrying about dropping the bike if it's at the MSF course. You're going to be using bikes like that. This is actually the course here, and some gentleman's doing maintenance on the bikes over there. So they're not your bikes, so don't worry about dropping it. You don't want to, obviously, but it very well may happen. So kind of get that out of your head about worrying about dropping the bike. So the very first thing is, hey, how do you actually get on the bike? And to do that, the best way to do it, is to come in from the kickside stand, reach over, grab your front brake, and swing your leg over. Alright, now if you've never been on a bike, the first thing you might notice is, hey, it's a little bit heavier than I thought it would be. And that was definitely my biggest learning curve, was, hey, this is actually kind of heavy. But don't let that bother you, because you will, get so used to it that it won't matter. I mean, you will grow on the bike so fast that you won't even think about how heavy it is. I thought this was the heaviest motorcycle in the world when I first sat on it. Now, not at all. It's such a light bike, and I absolutely love it. So, the first thing you kind of got to know is where everything's at. So, the left side of the bike is all your controls, right? It's your high beams, your low beams. This just kind of navigates through my TFT display. Your turn signals, and you push it in to cancel the turn signal. Your horn and your four ways. This one has a four-way system where you push it to the side and it's on, right? And also on the left is your clutch, and down here is your clutch pedal, or whatever you want to call it, your shifter, right? So all of that kind of stuff, all your mechanical stuff, is kind of on the left hand side, and the right hand side is the fun side. This is your front brake, your throttle, your kill switch on and off, starting it, and your rear brake. So to start the bike, the first thing you want to do is you want to put it in neutral, right? So, well, you don't have to put it in neutral, but for this sake, we'll put it in neutral. So we're pulling the clutch, and a little half step up, the bike's in neutral. Your kill switch is off. Whenever it's up, it's off. When it's on, down, it's on. And you push the little button, and the bike's on, right? So now it's not going anywhere. To put it in first, we're going to pull in the clutch and push your foot down. Now, my bike stalled out. Why did it stall out? Because I have my kickstand down. A lot of new bikes kind of have a new safety feature that the kickstand actually adds as a kill switch. So let's start the bike again, but we'll keep it in first. We'll put the kickstand up. We'll pull in the clutch. This is off. This is on. And we'll start the bike. Okay? So now you got the bike started. one of the first things that we did at the MSF course is they wanted us to just waddle the bike. So that's put it in neutral, right? It's neutral. I don't have to hold the clutch anymore, and let's just waddle the bike. Just see what it feels like, right? Kind of get a little bit used to it. In the MSF course, we waddle it all the way down to the pole, turn around, and waddle back. I'm not going to do that. It's no real point, but that's what it is. Both feet are on the ground. You're kind of waddling back and forth. Now, the next thing, and one of the biggest learning curves for riding a bike, is the friction zone. So before we get into the friction zone, I said before, one of the people's biggest fears with riding a bike is either stalling it or dropping the bike. I highly recommend you dump the clutch in a safe environment so you know what it feels like, right? So we're in first, the clutch is pulled, let's dump the clutch. That's all it did. We can start it again, dump the clutch, there you go. You know, I think that's important because it's kind of one of those things that you're anticipating it because you're going to do it, but you might not necessarily know how it feels or whatever. And that's basically all it is, right? You're just dumping the clutch. Now, what gets people into trouble is whenever this is turned and they dump the clutch. I'm not going to do that because it's actually uncomfortable, because what's going to happen is that is going to lunge forward, stop because it's in gear, and then all that weight is going to shift over and you can topple the bike, right? I actually did that whenever I did my MSF course. It's coming around the track, coming around, everybody's in line, so I'm waiting to get back in line, and I come in and I had this turned, had my hand on the brake, and I dumped the clutch, and when I dumped the clutch it was even more violent, and I toppled it, and I like cranked down the throttle, and it was super loud, and I was super embarrassed, but you know, it is what it is. Now, the friction zone. This is kind of where we really start learning how to ride the bike, okay? And I made a video on the friction zone, and I will link it in the description, if it's not a whole playlist itself, so you kind of get an idea of what's going on with that friction zone. Is this camera going to turn on? Hooray! So, friction zone, that is whenever you release the clutch enough to where the bike is engaged, the engine's engaged with the drive shaft or whatever you want to call it, to the rear wheel essentially, and the bike can move forward. So let's put her hand on the brake, the front brake, and let's listen. I want you to hear this. Do you hear that? This is off the friction zone. This is in the friction zone. So if I were to let go of my front brake, I'm moving, right? If I'm in the friction zone, right, if I'm in the friction zone and I let off the brake, it's not moving. But here, I'm in the friction zone and I let off the brake and it's moving. Now, some people say to mark this with like a pen or something so you know where that friction zone is. I don't recommend doing that, and the reason I don't recommend doing that is because you're now going to be looking at that and not the road. You can hear it. Let's listen one more time and I'll shut up so you can hear it. You can even see the bike starting to go forward a little bit, and it'll be muscle memory, because before you know it, you're just do it so much that you know exactly where that's at. And if you're in traffic at a stoplight and a pretty girl walks by the crosswalk and you are on your noble steed, you can bow your horse, because the front brake's engaged and the bike's dipping forward. Just if anybody needs some what the hell do young kids call it nowadays? They don't call it swag. Riz, that's it. Fucking call it Riz. That's some weird stuff. Anyway, you guys are weird in your Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter. Well, they don't call it Twitter no more. Anyway, getting off topic, let's get back to the bike. So now that we know where the friction zone is at, and we've practiced it, and I made a bunch of videos, again, check them out. Well, you can do whatever you want. The next thing that we did in the MSF course is we engaged the friction zone, and we're waddling. We're no gas. This is all in the friction zone. We're just waddling, right? We'll waddle all the way down here. We're just waddling. My feet are still touching the ground, and we're just waddling the bike. Okay, let's turn our head and get this bike turned around. Right? We're stopped. Get in the friction zone again, and we're just waddling the bike. We're just getting used to where that friction zone is at. Okay? And that's all we're doing here, just getting used to it. Alright, so here's where the fun starts. Now that we're in the friction zone, we know where the friction zone's at. We've ridden a motorcycle. Hooray! You've rode a motorcycle. Let's do the second step, and that is to apply a little bit of gas with it. So you can give it a little bit of gas and get in that friction zone and go. Right? No brakes. I'm not using brakes. A little bit of gas. Kind of watch your RPMs. We're kind of hovering around like 2,300 or whatever. We're letting go, and we're going. I put my feet up, and now we're riding a bike. No more clutch. We're going fast enough that we don't need the clutch. We're turning our head. This is another topic we'll talk about here in a second, but we're turning our head, and we're able to give it gas. Okay? Giving it the gas. The old gas play. So that is like the second step to do, and obviously, you know, watch a bunch of other videos and stuff. This is really to give you an idea of what to look for. Like, hey, let's look up the friction zone now, or hey, let's look at, you know, whatever. So we're giving a little bit of gas, releasing the clutch, put our feet up, and you're riding a motorcycle. Aren't you looking cool on your new motorcycle or whatever bike you got? It doesn't matter as long as you got two wheels. Alright, now one of the second things, and I don't know if this is necessarily in order, but I think it's very important, is braking. Now, you have a front brake and you have a rear brake. Your front brake is like 70 to 75% your stopping power. Okay, your rear brake actually doesn't do a lot of stopping power. A lot of people are hesitant on using the front brake because they think if they use the front brake, they're going to fly off the bike. That's true if you, boom, grab the brake, right? Fistful of brake, Moto Jiu-Jitsu, fistful of brake. We're not doing that. It's slow, steady brake pressure. We're shifting that weight onto the front tire, slowing it down. Right, so let's go a little bit, right? And then we're not slamming on the brake, slowly squeezing the brake, right? Give it some throttle, let off get in the friction zone, slowly squeeze the brake. No jerky. There's no jerky motions in this household. Okay, we're not doing anything jerky. We're not doing anything abrupt, right? No hanky panky. No hanky panky. We're slowly going, right? And let's slowly squeeze the front brake. Now, you don't have to slowly squeeze the front brake. That's just what I'm showing you. In an emergency situation, you would abruptly squeeze the front brake, right? But it's still steady brake pressure. It's not boom, right? Boom. We're not doing that. It's boom. We're doing that. Boom. We're doing that. Boom. We're doing that. Not boom, right? No boom. There's no boom boom room. Okay? We're slowly squeezing the brake to stop. Now, of course, you can use your rear brake. The rear brake is a great tool, especially for your slower speeds and stuff like that. But it's not something that I honestly use a lot. I mean, I use my front brake 99.99% of the time. I only ever really use my front brake. I use my rear brake with slow speed maneuvers, and if I'm at a stoplight, always keeping it in first gear, and I'll flash my brakes. That's about it that I use with my rear brakes. But your front brake is very important. Just remember, you're squeezing the front brake. Steady brake pressure. If it's an emergency situation, then it's fast, steady brake pressure, if that makes sense. It's just, you're just not grabbing it. Just don't grab it, because you grab it, all that weight's going to shift to the front, your tire can wash out. And we don't want that to happen. That's not a good day. It's a bad day. Hey, City Ninja here. How you doing? So, sorry, I just wanted to say something real quick, because it's really important, and I don't talk about it in this. And it's the reason why you are progressively braking like that is because whenever you're doing that, you're shifting the weight slowly to the front tire. Now, when you're doing that, the tire has a contact patch with the road. It's not rounded to the road, right? It's flat to the road. And whenever you are increasing brake pressure, you're shifting that weight, that contact patch gets larger. And what that does is that enhances grip. Whenever you just quickly grab your front brake, you're shifting all that weight to the front tire very quickly, but you're also shifting all that weight on the suspension. The suspension has a specific amount of travel, right? And when you hurry up and you reach that and you try and go beyond that, it's gonna kick out, right? And you don't have a contact patch to back that up anyways. But whenever you are progressively braking but quickly, you're shifting that weight, your suspension's collapsing still quickly, but it's still collapsing at a non-jerky motion, and then you're increasing your contact patch, right? So I just thought that really needed to be said. Cannon Racers has a great video. I'll try and put it up here, where he has a motorcycle tire with a rim. He has it to the side and he smacks it and it falls, right? Then he has it to the side, but he's like kind of doing like a push-up thing, and he's slowly adding the pressure, and he's able to like completely hold himself up with the tire sideways. So that's what that's doing, right? Again, your emergency brake, you're slowly shifting that weight forward, your suspension's working with you, you're increasing that contact patch, and it's for it provides better grip for your turn and everything that you're doing. But sorry for interrupting. Enjoy the rest of the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So the second thing, or the whatever thing this is turning. Now, if you don't know, you have to turn your head in the direction that you want to go, especially with slow speed maneuvers, with every single turn. But for right now, we're going to be doing slow speed maneuvers. So that's let's just jump on this track, right? We're pulling the clutch, on, brake, we're in first, right? Brake or give it some throttle, get in the friction zone. We're going. Now, let's turn our head. Let's go around this block, right? We're turning our head to go around the block. Let's do this. We're turning our head. We're going around the block, right? Nice, easy motions. You have to turn your head in the direction that you want to go. Now, here's another learning curve for a lot of people, and it can almost sound a little weird. Right now, those turns that I was just doing, I was able to do those by turning the wheel, right? I want to go left, I turn left. I want to go right, I turn right. The motorcycle is a gyroscope, and I won't get into the physics of that, but what that means is once you go fast enough, it's like 15 to 20 mile an hour, you can no longer do that, and you have to push in the direction that you want to go. So if you're trying to go left, you have to push left. If you want to go right, you have to push right. And I'll demonstrate that here right now. So we're in gear, friction zone, give it some gas, and we're going. Now look, we're going, 15 mile an hour. We can't turn the wheel like that. We have to push. We're turning our head. We're pushing the handlebar in the direction that we want to go. Let's do it again. We're driving. We need to make this turn. We got our eyes turned, our head turned. We're pushing the motorcycle in the direction that we want to go. Right? Once you go so fast, it's like around 15, 20 mile an hour, you can't just turn the wheel. It won't let you do that. You have to push the handlebars in the direction that you want to go. So I'm going to make another video on that specific idea, but right now this is just a very fast to get you guys to think of these concepts and these ideas, and then further look them up yourself. And then, you know, I want to make the videos too, but, you know, that's what I really want you to do. I want to make these ideas known to you, so like, hey, okay, look up counter steering next. I don't know what that is. Let's look that up. That's what it is, right? Once you get so fast, you have to push the bike in the direction that you want to go. So after that, the next thing is you have to get out of first gear, right? You have to get out of first gear. So whenever you're doing this, let's put this in neutral. Let's say we're in first gear, we're riding, we would pull in the clutch, let go the throttle, we would, we would, I don't actually know which one comes first, to be honest with you. It's been so long, because it happens so fast, but you pull in the clutch, let off the throttle, click up with your foot to get into the next gear, release the clutch, give it some gas. And it happens so fast that it's actually kind of hard for me to teach that idea, because it's boom, it happens so fast. So let's just show it real quick, right? We're in first gear, giving a little bit of gas. We're in the friction zone. We put our feet up. We're going. So let's go. Off, clutch, up, on clutch, off clutch, throttle. Let's see if we can do that again to make that a little bit easier. Let's get back into first, right? So we're going, we're pulling in the clutch, we're shifting gears, we're letting off the clutch to get in that friction zone, and we're giving it more gas. Okay, let's do it one more time. Kind of going slow for that, but right, we're going, off, throttle, clutch, shift in the friction zone, and giving it more gas. And that's essentially it. I hope that's kind of clear. I'm kind of crowded here. I guess I could go, yeah, screw it, I can go other places too. So let's get into third, right? So we're riding, off the throttle, pull the clutch, up a gear, put it, slowly release the throttle, or slowly release the clutch and give it more throttle. Let's drop a gear because I don't want to stall the bike. So let's do it again, right? We're riding, off the throttle, pull in the clutch, shift a gear, slowly release the clutch, and give it some gas. The bike almost kind of wanted to stall out there because I was kind of going a little slow. But that is essentially it whenever it comes to, ooh, I'm still on second. That's essentially it whenever it comes to shifting your bike, right? You're driving, you're going to let off the throttle, you're going to pull in the clutch, you're going to use your foot to kick it into gear, you're going to slowly release the clutch, and you're going to be giving it gas kind of at the same time. It's kind of like, you know, you're driving a manual in a car, right? You're doing it all at the same time. Nice, easy movements, right? So we're driving, we let off the throttle, we pull in the clutch, we shift gear, we slowly release the clutch while we're giving it throttle. And that happens in a second, right? So, you know, watch. I didn't mean to do that. But that's it, right? That's how fast it happens. I'm just trying to slow it down, right? So, you know, you're driving. That was it. Did you catch it? That's how fast it is. Super, super, super fun and easy and engaging, right? So one more time. I hate to say things a million times, but we're driving. We let off the throttle. We pull in the clutch. We shift with our foot. We're releasing the clutch, and we're giving it some throttle. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. And that's essentially, you know, shifting your motorcycle and all that stuff. I'm going to pack up my stuff, and I'm going to go for a ride and see if we can do talk about anything else that I might have missed. Because I really want this video to be a good one. Like, I've been really wanting this to be good, and I don't know if it turned out good. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But let me do something, and I'll be right back.